Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Jake.
Good to see you guys. We're continuing on in our journey through Joshua. We spent a couple weeks there. Last week we discussed the first 9 verses. Oh yeah, the older kids, make sure you get your kids' bulletin. I forgot about that. Fill that out and get yourself a little piece of candy afterwards. But back to Joshua. Went to the first 9 verses of Moses that has died, and now the torch is being passed to Joshua. First, he has to get his marching orders from God himself. And God tells him, the whole focus of verse 19 was, do not let the book of the law depart from your mouth. Hey, study and hold to what Moses has taught you, what Moses has written as you go through there, as you start your journey and your conquest into the promised land. Well, now we're going to continue the story of what happens next. He got his marching orders from God. Now he's going to get the rest of the nation going. But Joshua, this first part, a lot of what can be applied is to being a leader, leadership. You know, and so of course as pastor, I should be really paying attention to what Joshua is doing, and those on the board to hopefully be paying attention to what Joshua is doing. But sometimes we make the being leaders too small of a group. You realize, if you're a parent, guess what? You're a leader. You've led your child in some way, or maybe even grandchildren. If you're a husband, you've led your spouse. You've led your family. If you've ever, have ever helped someone, they've come to you for advice or said, hey, I'll help praying for you. That's a way of leading as well. We don't want to, pigeonhole, just this stuff on Joshua only applies if you're a leader. No, this seems to apply to a lot of us. Because we're going to be sometimes kind of thrust into times when we lead. We're not expecting it, but we need to do it. There's times when we need to act. We got to know what to do. We got to be able to go. There's a story of an older couple that went on their first cruise, and they're at the rail. They're leaning over, looking and marveling at the ocean. And next thing you know, the bystanders, they see the wife falling off into the water. Oh no! Overboard, man! Overboard. Well, a couple seconds later, they see the husband falling into the water, and he's going to save his wife, yes. And they, of course, they get the life preservers thrown over, and they eventually get him back on board. And everyone's praising the husband for just being such an awesome husband and going after his wife. And of course, he's cold. He's got the water. And they finally ask, what do you have to say? He goes, I want to know who pushed me. Sometimes, that's a joke, of course, but there's times when we'll be thrust into acting as a leader if we're not ready. So even if you don't count yourself as a leader, you'll have those times at some point in your life you're going to have to be. And even if you think you never will, you should at least know what's going on because you have leaders around you. You want to help them out. So when we get into this, we're really looking at, I think, applying this to everybody because we're all going to have those times in our lives when we believe. So we're going to finish up chapter 1, Joshua chapter 1. So you've got your pew Bibles. It's page 178 in your black Bible. Joshua chapter 1, verses 10 through 18 we're going to cover today. Let me pray real quick before I read it. So Father, we just pray as we come to your holy word. Lord, that you would just cast aside the cares. When we have a potluck, Lord, help us to focus you on your word. Lord, help it to change our minds, change our hearts, and change our hands, how we act, Lord. Lord, because we are now. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. So Joshua chapter 1, starting at verse 10. And Joshua commanded the officers of the people, pass through the midst of the camp and command the people. Prepare your provisions, for within 3 days you are to pass over this Jordan to go take possession of the land that the Lord your God is giving you to possess. And to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, Joshua said, remember the word that Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, saying, the Lord your God is providing you a place of rest and will give you this land. Your wives, your little ones, and your livestock shall remain in the land that Moses gave you beyond the Jordan. But all the men of valor among you shall pass over the armed before your brothers and shall help them, until the Lord gives you rest to your brothers as he is to you. And then you also take possession of the land that the Lord your God is giving you. Then you shall return to the land of your possession and shall possess it, the land that Moses the servant of the Lord gave you beyond the Jordan toward the sunrise. And they answered Joshua, all that you have commanded us, we will do. And wherever you send us, we will go. Just as we obeyed Moses in all things, so we will obey you. Only may the Lord your God be with you, as he was with Moses. Whoever rebels against your commandments and disobeys your words, whatever you command them, he shall be put to death. Only be strong and courageous. All right. So Joshua, he's been thrust into this leadership role now. And he knows what he has to do. He spent his time with God. God gave him his marching orders. It's time to go over. You got to lead the command. But hey, be focused on my teaching, on my words for you. So he knows what he's got to do now. Now he's got to carry it out. And then that's going to be kind of our framework to do is when we carry out God's plan. And this is not only for leaders, but in our lives. When we carry out God's plan. And this is a wide-ranging application here because I don't know if anybody here is planning to lead an invasion over the Jordan, the Promised Land. Is anyone planning to do that today? Okay. Oh, Teresa. Okay. Okay. So that was God's plan for Joshua. And God made it clear for him that he was to do that. But in our lives, we have different aspects of what God's plan may be for you. It may be something big, a big thing in my life, or a new direction in life, job, work, or financial, or a way to serve that maybe God's been working in your heart in some way, and you're not sure what to do. And then God finally kind of makes it clear. Okay, this is the path for me. Okay, I got to go. Or it really may be something small, too. Maybe, you've been feeling a burden to go visit somebody, or a burden to go help somebody. But you're just not sure how it goes, and all of a sudden an opportunity is there. God shows you a way that you can help. Go do it. That's the plan that God has for you for that moment. Or maybe something personal. Maybe a workout plan, a financial plan, whatever it may be that you need to do, that God is calling you to do. There's a wide range of things that we can put into this that we want to use for that. It's just something that, you've been wrestling with God, but God has now started to give you that clear direction. Okay, now what do I do? What do I do? Well, the first one that Joshua gives us is that we should do it swiftly and logically. In verse 10, we have, and Joshua commanded the officers of the people. There in the Hebrew, it's called a vav consecutive. It continues the story quickly. So we have in the previous verse, God giving his commands is, do not be frightened, do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And then there's no time gap there in the time frame. It goes right into Joshua saying, all right, let's go. And he comes down and he commands the officers. And he's not really talking about the military officers, he's talking about the administrative officers, the one that Moses appointed over the nation of Israel to help manage the people. And he gets them along and he says, all right, go and tell everyone. We're going to leave within 3 days. Get ready. He's passed the word around for 3 days. So he's getting the ball rolling immediately, telling the people. But he's also not jumping right into it. He says, start getting ready for 3 days. Well, that takes a lot of planning. Remember, Israel had been journeying all around the wilderness, but they've been in this spot probably for a little bit, because that's where Moses died. It was in the same area. So they've been kind of camped down for a little bit. And they needed to be able to get going. And also, 3 days, that's more time for him to start planning the invasion. We also know what's probably something he did during his 3 days, is he sends the spies into Jericho that we're going to cover next week. So he's being logical about it. He's not jumping off a cliff and saying, all right, Lord, provide a way. He's being logical. Okay, let's start getting ready. Let's do it. And he's getting people on board. See, we've been given the go-ahead from God. When we know what's the course of action for us, you think about whatever it is that came to mind when I first started talking about what God's plan might be for you, whether it's a small thing, a big thing, whatever it might be. When we know that it's time, we should get on it quickly. We know this is where he wants us to do. We need to do it quickly. And get on it. And just, I like how, Joshua had to do it because he needed everyone's help to go and tell people. One way to do it is if God is, you sense a direction of pulling for God, is to go tell someone. Because that gets the ball rolling. When you think you have a direction for God and you just keep it to yourself, it's a lot easier to backtrack on that, isn't it? Because you don't have anybody to hold you accountable. Once you tell someone, once that cat is out of the bag, on whatever it may be, guess what? It helps you. It gets you going on it quickly. You start getting on it. You do it logically. That's what he did there in verse 10. He passed it around and he got ready to go. That's what we need to do. Is we need to act on it once God has given us the direction, for whatever it may be in your life. The next thing we need to do is hold others to their word. Verses 12 through 15 here. When Joshua, he now goes to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half tribe of Manasseh. And these are the ones that had, jump to the map here, they came up, Israel come up in here, this is called the Transjordan area, and they had conquered that area. Well, these 2.5 tribes are more of the herders, the shepherds, and this was good land for them. Even though God had said go to the promised land. So back in Numbers 32, they come and they ask Moses, hey, you mind if we stay here? Well, Moses didn't really like that, but he said, okay, you can stay and take over this area. But Moses secured the promise that, hey, your family's going to stay here, but your warriors must go with us into the promised land, across the Jordan, to help your fellow tribes. You got to keep that going. And when he says here, he's almost a verbatim quote of Deuteronomy 3. Remember that the word that Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, saying, the Lord your God is providing you a place of rest. This is the first time Joshua actually starts thinking about rest in this concept of conquest. The rest is where these 2.5 tribes have already gotten their place. They're already in a place of rest, but they must go on. Your wives, your kids, your livestock, they can stay, but all your men of valor among you shall go over across the Jordan until the Lord gives rest to your brothers, as he has given you. Until the conquest is done, they can stop. You got to go out and help. And you shall return to the land of your possession and shall possess it. So he's holding them to it. Because remember, we had a change of command here. These 2.5 tribes, the leaders of those tribes, made their promise to Moses. They gave their word to Moses. Well, now we have a new leader. Joshua's going, hey, I'm going to hold you to your word here. You may have made that promise to Moses, but I'm the new leader. And he's asserting his control, his authority as a leader, saying, hey, you gave your word to Moses. That word is still binding now. If you look throughout history, most rebellions, most revolts, most times when nations are fractured, is when there's a change of power. When a king dies or a monarch dies, that's when the outlying areas are like, oh, let's sneak away. We've had a change of power, and Joshua needs to assert his control. And he does it by holding them to their word, holding them to the oath that they made to Moses. And it transfers to them. Now for us, when we tell people, what we're doing, if we say, okay, God's really giving me a burden to read my Bible more. And okay, there's a plan. I can use the French Culture Reading Plan. Tell someone, because guess what? They'll help you. But if you tell someone and that person goes, yeah, I'll help you, or you tell someone maybe you're struggling with, and you're asking for God's direction, and they say, well, let me know if there's anything I can do, or I'll be praying for you. Continue to ask them for that. Say, you said you'll pray for me. Will you continue to pray for me? You said you'd help me. I can use that help now. We need to hold each other, just as Jesus every time. And your word is your word. So we gotta help hold people to their word of helping out one another. Don't let people slide back and, oh, we got things now. Like, no, I really need your help with carrying out God's plan now. Whether it be for yourself or a group of people too, not only yourself. Because the converse of that is not only holding people to their word, but we get in verse 16 and 18, it says we need to help each other through unity. Because when Joshua confronts the 2.5 tribes to say, hey, that oath you swore to Moses is now to me, how do they answer? How do they respond? All that you have commanded us, we will do. Wherever you send us, we will go. Just as we obeyed Moses in all things, we will obey you. They're saying, yep, our oath to Moses is now binding to you. And just as we obeyed Moses in all things, we obey you. And this is like a good thing here. So only may the Lord your God be with you, as he was Moses. Saying, yeah, we'll follow you. And we pray for God to be with you, as he was with Moses. And then, here's a little curse we got to keep in mind as we go through. Whoever rebels against your commandments and disobeys your word, whatever you command him shall be put to death. They're not reaffirming their commitment to Joshua. They're coming with unity and saying, hey, we're going to hold everyone else accountable too. We're going to hold them accountable, or they're going to be put to death. And then they repeat the great phrase, only be strong and courageous. All right, Joshua, we're going to follow you. We know God has given you the command to be strong and courageous. We pray that for you too. Now, well, I said earlier we need to hold people to their word. That sounded a little weird, isn't it? Kind of weird to hold people to that. The converse of this is that if we offer to help somebody, do it. If you don't give lip service to saying, well, if you need something, let me know. That may be the culturally acceptable thing to do. Someone shares all that's going on, and our common response is, well, if you need anything, let me know. Mean it. I'll tell you, when I say it to you guys, I mean it. We're unified together. I don't just give you false hope and false promises. That's not what the tribes here are saying. They're giving, hey man, we're with you. Just like we're Moses are with you now. And this way we need to be together as we carry out God's plans for our lives. If we offer help, if you offer to help pray, I'll be honest here. There's times when I don't know what to do when someone's kind of sharing something. This is not just as the pastor, this is before I was a pastor. And I don't know what to do. And so what's the easy answer to say? I'll pray for you. It's an easy answer. And how many times do I actually ever pray for the person? Once, and then I forget. I'll be honest. It's an easy way to sound sincere, but actually get out of actually doing anything. That sounds like an empty promise. If we say it, do it. Don't just get out of commitment by giving them an easy commitment that they can't hold you to because they don't know. But do it. Do it for the love of one another. We are to love one another. All made in God's image. We're all redeemed children in the eyes of God. If we say we're going to pray for one another, let's pray for one another. That's why in our bulletins, I included a little space in there for you to record down the praises and prayer reports. So you can pray for each other throughout the week, not just on the Sunday morning. If you say you're going to pray for somebody, a good way to help you to not forget is to pray for them right then and there. If you say, you know what, I'm going to pray for you. Take 30 seconds. A 30-second prayer is just as effective as a 30-minute prayer. All right? Take 30 seconds to pray with that person right then and there. And I guarantee you'll remember. But you're being unified. You're not giving empty promises of, yeah, I'll come alongside and help you, but if it gets tough, I'm going to be over here because I don't really want to get involved in it. Do it. Don't give empty promises. Hold to your word. As we journey through life together, that's what we need to be. It's all together. So as we carry out God's plan, when you do it swiftly, not just act on it, just as Joshua did. Just as Joshua jumped on it, got the word, spread the word, okay, this is what's going on. In our lives, act. When God shields the plan he has for you, when he reveals it to you, act on it. Don't wait, okay, now what should I do next? I'm just start acting on it. Tell people about it too. Get other people on board as accountability. Maybe they help you in some ways. Hold other people to the word. If they've offered help, don't be afraid to ask for help. I know if I've offered a lot of people help to offer help with me, and I never get a call. And then later I found out there was a big need and I was never called. And I'm like, oh. I don't offer my help just to get out of helping you. I offer my help because I care for you. And that's how we should do with one another. If we offer help, don't be afraid to ask for help to redeem that promise. And then help each other in community. Let's be unified. This is a family that we love God together. We proclaim Him together. We serve together. We journey through life together. So let's carry out God's plans for our lives together. All right, let's pray. Father, we just thank you, Lord, for your word here as you given instructions for Joshua to carry on. Lord, if there's someone here that has been struggling with a path in their life and you reveal it to them, I pray that you just act on it. So act on it today. Lord, we just give you praise and glory for you to continue to work in our lives and mold us to your image. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.